And for the third and final section, it really just is an extension of the first and second stage. It's just a matter of refining further, looking for subtle details, but also at the same time trying to keep a character to the paint. So I'm just going to go through it methodically again, section by section. So I'm going into the sky. I need to make sure I've got my clean brush for this. So I've just washed it out in a bit of the 50-50 mix, wiped the excess paint off. Coming up into the sky, if I can't think of anything good to do, then good rule of thumb is don't do anything at all. The orange is working quite nicely. I'd like to lift the orange tint even further. So I'm going to add some white into my light orange tint. Not so much that it starts to become white, but just lifts it a little bit. And that allows me now to come down and lift the light in the water a little as well. So at this stage, I'm only keeping a very loose eye on the original image. It's about making this painting work independent of the original reference. So that's quite a nice intense bit of paint, but the edges are too strong. So I'm just going to soften them down a little bit. I like the orange. The yellow here isn't quite as subtle as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to go back in, pick up just some pure Indian yellow and try that again. So I'm going up with the yellow, spreading it out a little bit more, lifting up into more of a white, or white in with my yellow, and then lifting up again, right up into a really thick, very light yellow impasto stroke representing the sun. I'm a bit happier with that now. If the edges are a little bit too crude, again, I can just feather them slightly. It's important to be methodical and not keep going over and over and over the same section just for want of anything better to do. Down into the clouds, quite happy with this section. I think I'd like to soften them out on the right hand side, fade them right out so the sky and the cloud all sort of blend into each other, which also lets me maybe pick up this hill a little bit better. So the eye's leading into that division over there. Okay, down into my land in the distance. Is there anything I can do with that? I think stepping back from a distance, I think I would like to just add a little more orange to it. Being careful that it doesn't start to dominate what's happening above. And it can be done in a broken line. That works. And the other thing I'm looking for is any bits of negative space creeping through the trees in the foreground. That's something that works particularly well in landscape painting. It's just breaking up that mass there. Again, it gets lighter down towards the ground. Okay. And into this mass of trees. One thing I haven't looked at up till now is there's a very subtle reflection coming off a lot of these trees. So because there's wet paint underneath, it takes a particular kind of mark to create that effect. And I'm going to just put the paint on, a little bit of paint, and just flick down so that it's stronger up towards the top and then it fades out as it goes down. Okay. Happy enough with what's going on over there. maybe pick up a few of these trees that are crossing over the lake a little bit stronger. Now there are some darker marks here in the foreground that are cutting across some of these horizontal bands. They're quite a nice compositional element where you've got verticals crossing over horizontals. So I'm just going to maybe make a little more of those. So basically they're vertical marks representing trees, but they also need to be creative passages of paint in their own right. And darks work best when they're thin. Maybe one or two just creeping back into the distance. Just softening the edge so they don't look quite as crude, a little more natural maybe. There's something else going on there, which is on the tops of all these little trees, there's a little glint of light. It's quite a cold green light. So what I did was went back to my green, added a little bit of King's Blue and a little bit of Indian Yellow, possibly a little bit of white. Test a little bit till you get something that works. It can't be too warm. And it's just a little bit of kind of misty light green light being picked up on the tops of all the trees. Now there are probably 300 or 400 trees there. We don't want to do every one. We just want to create an impression. Okay. Now down into this foreground, I think it needs to be a little bit lighter. Sort of yellowy olive green. Again, nice bold brush marks. Don't pull the eye down there too much. Take a step back, assess it again. Sometimes it's good just to take a break, go and have a cup of tea, come back, check it again, see if there's anything that maybe catches your eye. Like that little bit of light coming through there. It's a good idea to do that maybe 3 or 4 times, taking a break, coming back, fresh eye. Sometimes turning it around in a mirror helps as well, or just coming back the next day. I think I'm fairly happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please send me on your images of your finished paintings. Thank you very much.